Imagine waking up to a world standing still. Ships anchored at sea, unable to dock. Trucks lined for miles outside silent ports. Screens flickering in warehouses with one simple message. System offline. It wasn't a natural disaster. It was an update. A single patch meant to make things safer, faster, smarter. Brought the global supply chain to its knees. Billions of dollars lost in hours. Food shipments spoiled. Medicines delayed. Entire economies paused. How does a few lines of code bring the modern world to a halt? This is the update that broke global trade. Act 1, the fragile machine. Every day, 20 million shipping containers move across the planet. A quiet choreography that powers our lives. The clothes you wear, the phone in your hand, the breakfast you ate this morning. All of it passed through digital gates managed by code. These systems don't just track shipments. They decide where ships go, when cranes move, and which trucks roll first. Each action recorded, logged, and fed into a web of logistics so vast, it's been called the invisible machine of civilization. And like all machines, it runs on updates. A patch here, a version upgrade there. Each one promising to fix, optimize, secure. But deep inside these systems, buried behind passwords and firewalls, is a truth few admit. Our trade network isn't built for perfection. It's built for momentum, and when that momentum breaks, even for an hour, the world feels it. Act 2, the day it happened. It started quietly. A handful of terminals in Singapore reported login failures. Nothing unusual. Ports are chaotic places. Systems blink all the time. By noon, automated cranes in Rotterdam began to stall. A ripple of frozen dashboards spread from Europe to Asia, and then to the Americas. Within 6 hours, more than 70 major shipping hubs reported total communication loss between logistics servers. To the outside world, it looked like a simple outage. Inside, chaos. No data meant no manifests, no customs clearance, no automated routing. By midnight, the largest global freight exchange, the digital nervous system of maritime trade, was dark. An executive later called it the hour the ocean went silent. Act 3, the code behind the curtain. The update that triggered it all came from a trusted provider. It wasn't malicious, it wasn't experimental, it was routine, a quarterly patch designed to fix. A memory overflow and an aging database engine. But somewhere, buried in the millions of lines of dependent code, an authentication library misread a time. That single error caused encrypted certificates to fail, locking users out, and because the systems were globally synchronized, the failure replicated perfectly, mercilessly, across every region that installed the patch. Imagine billions of dollars in trade, held hostage by a single misplaced variable. One line of code. One missed test, one global consequence. Later, forensic analysts described it as a cascade of perfect failure. Everything that could have gone wrong did. Backup servers couldn't connect. Offline recovery keys were stored inside the affected network, and when human operators tried to override, they were met with blank terminals and frozen logins. The update had locked the gate and thrown away the key. Act 4, the human cost. While engineers fought to restore systems, dock workers slept in trucks outside the port. Farmers watched as exports spoiled under the sun. Some factories went quiet for the first time in decades. Economists say the 72-hour freeze cost more than $80 billion in delayed trade. But money wasn't the real cost, it was trust. Trust in a system too large to fail, yet too fragile to question. Trust in software most people never see, and in engineers who, for a brief moment, held the entire global economy in their hands. One port manager described the silence as apocalyptic. No engines, no horns, just whined over containers, and the sound of people realizing how dependent we've become on things we don't understand. Act 5, the search for blame. In the days that followed, fingers pointed everywhere. Some called it corporate negligence. Others whispered about sabotage, a planted vulnerability, activated at the worst moment. But the investigation told a simpler, darker truth. No villains, no conspiracy, just complexity. Systems so intertwined that a single mistake, became everyone's problem. It wasn't malice that broke trade. It was our blind faith in automation. Trade resumed, eventually. Containers moved, screens lit back up, and the world moved on. But in the quiet corners of the internet, engineers still talk about that night. The night when the ports went silent, and the hum of global commerce faded like a dying heartbeat. Maybe the scariest part isn't that an update broke the system. It's that it can happen again, anytime, anywhere. Because the more connected we become, the thinner the line grows between order and collapse. And next time, it might not be trade. It might be something even closer to home. This was NEXION, where we trace the hidden fractures in the modern world. If this story made you think, subscribe, because the next update may already be downloading.